Hello and welcome to Retro Gaming Banter. In this video we are taking a look at the Darksoft AES multicart, which is a flash cartridge for the Neo Geo console. The AES stands for Advanced Entertainment System, the home console version of the Neo Geo. Neo Geo games can be extremely expensive, prices are ranging from £30 for common titles. I just saw Ninja Masters sold for £1.50 on eBay. So for many Neo Geo owners, a flash cart is going to be the only way to play many of these arcade games. The multicart comes in a snap lock box that feels good quality. It has a clip on the side to keep it securely closed. The box cover art itself is nothing fancy, it clearly shows what's contained inside. On the back you can read about what the cartridge does and some of the features. Inside you can find the multicart. This is a reproduction cartridge shell, so no original shells were armed in making these. Size and looks wise, it looks near identical to an original AES cartridge. On the right side of the cart is a micro SD card slot where you can add a card containing the menu software and your game files. You can fit just about everything on a 8GB card. There are 3 simultaneous virtual game slots, each with 768 megabits of memory. This is large enough to store the largest officially released game. You can store the unpatched game files on the SD card and then flash them to a virtual game slot. When first booting up the Neo Geo, you are presented with the game selection menu. This shows the 3 games that are stored on the virtual slots. You can press A, B or C to load the respective game slot, or the start button to go to the options menu. From here you can perform various tasks such as game slot management, configuring the game's system settings and more. The games list will display any games found on the micro SD card. You can scroll through the games using left and right on the joysticks. This is the thumbnail display, which shows the games with a logo and thumbnail, or alternatively just a list with the logo. There is an option to show animations, and I recommend turning them off to speed up when browsing the games. There is also a filter option, so you can narrow down games by year of release, the first letter, the manufacturer and genre. The game's configuration will allow you to change the dip switch settings found on the game. So for example, on viewpoint you can change various settings such as the number of continues, bonus scores, difficulty, and if the 2-player games are simultaneous or alternative. These settings will vary depending on the game. The system configuration allows you to change between MVS and AES systems, as well as the region. The region can be useful as, for example, some USA games have censored blood, where the Japanese versions do not. The menu configuration lets you change settings for the flash cart. The boot mode will change where it loads to when first booted up. There's a choice of the game menu, the game list or main menu. The game list display changes the games list will display, which I showed earlier. The menu music was previously locked to the Axel F song, which annoyed a lot of people. Thankfully, more recent firmware updates you now have a choice of music, or if you wish to you can fully disable it. And the in-game hotkeys can be enabled or disabled. When enabled, this allows you to hold down button combinations, so you can load other games in the slots or return to the main menu without having to power off and on the console. The diagnostics option will run a quick check on the cartridge to see if there's any issues. And the About option will show some information such as which firmware is installed and the supported games. Exit and program games will proceed to flash any added games to the virtual slots, and we will show this next. Flashing a game to a virtual slot is very easy. From the games list, choose your game and press A to assign it, and you can choose between 3 virtual slots. You can, if you wish to, configure the game dip switch settings, or you can go straight to flashing the game. I ran a few tests with games of different sizes. I have timed them from the moment I press the A button on the exit and program games menu option to the moment it shows the Neo Geo boot screen, just to get an equal timing. The largest Neo Geo game is King of Fighters 2003, which is 768 megabit. For this test, I will show the unedited video, so there's no speeding up or cuts. Flashing a game does not take very long. It will vary depending on the size of the game, however. Once the games have been flashed, the system will reboot and go to the first game on the virtual slots. On future powering up, it will show the game menu, main menu or game list depending on what you chose previously in the settings. It takes 27 seconds to flash to a slot from start to finish. And loading from the game menu takes 18 seconds. Do keep in mind that this test is using the largest game size, so smaller games do take far less time, as we will see in the next test. A smaller game such as Ghost Pilot takes 9 seconds to flash and 2 seconds to load from the game menu. I chose 3 games and added them to their respective slots and proceeded to flash them. Flashing the 3 games took around 22 seconds from the start to first seeing the UniBIOS screen. Personally, I think the times are reasonable. Once a game is flashed to a virtual slot, which only needs to be done the one time, the games are overall quick to load. Here is a quick comparison of prices. The Darksoft AES multi-cart costs around £355 if purchased in Europe, or around $425 in USA. Comparing this to the Neo SD AES costing around $310, bearing in mind that's not including import taxes, the Darksoft cart works out a little cheaper. Whichever cart you buy, it is a lot of most people's money to spend, but again, bearing in mind that many Neo Geo games are hard to find and or expensive, then the multi-cart does kind of pay for itself after a few games going by the current prices. I have been using a multi-cart for a few months now, and apart from just a couple of games currently not working, I did not have any other issues. There has been lots of moaning from some people on various forums about the time it takes to flash and load games. Personally, I think waiting 18 seconds for the largest game to load is perfectly fine. How long does it take to load most modern games on a PC or console? Something to also consider is that Neo Geo CD games may be supported in the future. This is not a guarantee, but it would make a great selling point if it is supported, as the standard Neo SD AES does not support it. I have always wanted a Neo Geo since I was a teenager, back in the early 90s. However, it was way out of my price range in those days. Now I am older, perhaps not so wiser, I have finally got one, and for me the Darksoft AES multi-cart is a great option. I can finally enjoy all the Neo Geo games without having to remortgage the house. There is not an official Darksoft homepage, but the main hub of activity, including replies from the developer of the multi-cart, can be found on the Arcade Projects forum. The link is in the description below. On there you can find more information about the carts, firmware updates, support, and where you can buy one. So if this video has got you interested, do check it out. That wraps up this review of the Darksoft AES multi-cart. I hope you have found it useful, and if you did, press that like button. And don't forget to subscribe to keep up with our future videos. I hope to see you in the next one.